I'll try not to be vain.
Yeah, no, no, go for it. Just talk about whatever you want. Um,
Mhm.
how's life anyway? Where are you now at the moment? You're in Amsterdam,
I'm in Amsterdam right now. Yeah.
and you're doing your course
Uh,
at the
yeah, I study here at the conservatory.
fantastic.
Uh,
And originally from Copenhagen, is it in Denmark?
yeah,
Yeah.
Copenhagen, Denmark. Yes, exactly.
So why the harmonica? Of all the instruments out there, how did you get to it?
Why the harmonica? I don't know. I only heard about people who started playing harmonica intentionally. I never met them, and I'm and I'm not one of them. I mean, I never met anybody who started out to be like, I'm gonna be a harmonica player. I'm gonna become a professional on this instrument. Everybody I met, they just started for some reason or the other. And my reason was a friend of mine had one when I was in elementary school, and he could play a tune on it, and I thought it was just the coolest thing I've ever seen. And he taught me to play the tune, and I learned it right away. And it was like a Danish hymn,
Mhm.
and that was it. And I got my own one, and I started to learn every single hymn I had in my head,
Nice.
just on it to to. And I did it like relentlessly. I was
Mm,
always doing it like during the day, just taking it out like 20 minutes
mm,
and at a time, just all day. And I
sure.
did that for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that on the diatonic or the chromatic at that stage?
diatonic.
Diatonic, yeah.
Yeah, I started out really as a diatonic player.
Interesting. I'm always telling
Hmm.
my students that I'm like, just every time you make a cup of tea, play the harmonica. Because we're English,
Yeah.
we're always making tea, so we make like 20 cups of tea a day. So you really just started learning by picking up those melodies by ear. Then you didn't do any sort of more formalized study, and then did you? Was it later that you started reading music?
I picked up the melodies by ear, but at the time I was in a school for choir singers.
Ah,
It
sure.
was an integrated part of the school schedule. This very fancy choir school in Copenhagen, Copenhagen Royal Chapel Choir. It's called beautiful choir. If you're into that, check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they trained our ears and reading skills,
Hmm.
but I have to say I had pretty good ears as a kid, so I did not read that much because
Hmm.
I didn't have to. I could just remember the music, and then I could look at the notes and have some sort of uh, image stimulation to my memory, which made me remember the music. But I was actually not really reading it,
Hmm.
which wasn't the point, but that's how it happened with me. So I found out later when I wanted to take up reading music that I actually sucked at it.
Well, practice makes perfect. I'm sure. I'm sure it's really
Mm.
something that fascinates me how players actually conceive the instrument like that. Um, so it was more of a sort of a semi-visual thing for you.
Yeah, for sure. There was always some sort of imagery inside my head about how the notes would look.
Mm,
Yeah, and those formative years on the diatonic have been very important because
definitely.
I got into blues, of course, when I was around 14, 15. And from there, I just roamed the blues bar jam
Yeah,
stages,
definitely. Hmm.
and I just cared so much about it and practiced it a lot. And all the bends on the diatonic that I was practicing really like laid the groundwork for my embouchure
Yeah, of course.
to come.
Hmm.
And I only picked up actually the chromatic when I was 19,
Yeah,
so fairly late.
I think actually quite a few people. That's very similar to what happened to me, if I'm
Hmm.
honest. And it's interesting of the harmonic players I've interviewed so far. Pretty much everybody says, yeah, you just have to go on the blues jam circuit and just get the experience. It's something I try and do with my students. Most of my students are
Hmm.
adults, and I'm saying, come on, just push them on the stage because sometimes
Yeah,
they're nervous. But
I mean, that is the most important thing is to just go on the stage and mess up.
yeah,
Really,
exactly.
like
Yeah.
don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to go there and just do it. That is the way.
Mm,
And if you're in a nice community, which is also very important, if people are supportive of you, then that's gonna be, even if you make a bad performance, if somebody's there to say, this is what could be a little bit better, and I had these people in my life, and they helped me a lot.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what made you want to pick up the chromatic? Was it just you wanted to explore jazz and classical a bit more in detail?
Yeah, I got very interested in jazz,
Mm.
and I had almost like an aggressive interest where I was like, why don't I know what is happening musically?
Yeah,
I saw these musicians on the Copenhagen stage just playing things I did not know what was, and it
yeah,
sounded amazing, and that I couldn't have that.
yeah.
I needed to know what is this, you know.
Mm.
And the instrument itself, I actually got my first harmonica when I was chromatic harmonica when I was 18. Let's add I'm 26 now,
Ah,
just
sure, sure.
for reference.
Mhm.
Um, and I couldn't really play it. I learned to play some tunes like Bernie's tune and stuff like that from ear, but I couldn't improvise, and I didn't even know theory that much.
Mm.
um, and then I wanted to go in a talent school, which is like a pre-conservatory thing where you need to audition, but they wouldn't let me in unless I played chromatic.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so I got that message 1 month before, so I had a month to like pick it up and try to make something of it,
Jeez.
and it worked out. I think I played both diatonic and chromatic on the test. It worked out, and they'd take me. Yeah, so then I got a pianist to teach me how to play, and in that regard I never really had a chromatic harmonica teacher in
Yeah,
jazz.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you more, I suppose, studied the piano and then shifted the ideas across.
Yeah, so I was studying chromatic harmonica, but he was playing piano.
Yeah, sure. Interesting.
Yeah, so the technical aspect has always been my own thing, and it is actually still on the conservatory here. I still my I'm in the saxophone department.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you messaged me. I found your message really interesting. You were saying that you actually found it very difficult to actually get the universities to sort of take you. And I know in England it's very difficult because I've tried to just sort of say, hey, how do I do further study on formal study on this instrument? And it's
yeah.
like it's not recognized, or you get vague responses back. Tell me about how you actually got into the conservatory at Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's funny. So I just wrote them initially. Can I apply on the harmonica in the jazz course, considering that Toots Thielemans
Yeah,
is considered one of the greats? Then why wouldn't I?
yeah,
And I just waited around for a month or two. I can't remember. Then they wrote me, "Yeah, you can apply. Why not?" Which was very cool of them.
yeah. Mm,
And then apparently I passed. There's some very strict auditions, and especially on the theory, they rank the students on the theory. So they passed them on the playing,
mm.
only passed or not passed, and then they rank them on the theory.
Ah, okay.
um, and I did all right. I mean, I didn't do crazy good, but I did all right. Upper upper third, I'd say. And then I got a call from a guy who was in the guitar department, and he said, "Hey, I'm the only one who actually have a space for you. Meaning to me, I'm the only one who consider taking in a harmonica, even though it's not my instrument
Sure.
department." And but then he just wanted to know something about me, like he wanted to know what is my expectations, can he even deliver what I want, and is this gonna make sense.
Mm,
And he also told me that there were some other guitar players who scored lower than me, but they were younger
right.
and they played guitar, so maybe he wouldn't pick me after all.
Mm,
um and then he just wanted to know a little bit about how I viewed the world, I guess, and how it would work out.
mm.
And that guy, he's the reason I'm in.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Do you want to
And
drop?
then I immediately switched to saxophone department because it just makes more sense on
Mm,
our instruments.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That's interesting. I find sometimes, particularly on the diatonic and the harmonica, as well as using the own voice, I do try and mimic, trumpet players, sax players, guitar players when comping. Does
Mm.
that feed into your thought process a lot, I imagine?
Yes. In general, I think throughout my years that I haven't been more influenced by any instrument than the other.
Mm, yeah,
I think I've been of course, maybe more wind instruments, but
yeah.
there's no way you can sound like a saxophone on the harmonica. There's just no way you can do it. So you can really like get gray hairs from trying to play a solo exactly like Cannonball Adderley or something, but it's just not gonna happen, you know.
Mm.
You have to extract the essence out of the playing, and then try to turn it into something that fits your instrument. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's your harmonica of choice at the moment? What sort of brands are you playing?
I right now have the Grégoire Marais Special from Suzuki. This one with the wooden cover. I have the other one with the metal covers right next to me. And then for playing classical, or when I have to play in an ensemble where the note choice goes below the middle C, then I have the Sirius 64.
Lovely.
Yeah, with the bottom.
Yeah, the bass.
Yeah, the bass register. Yes. And that's pretty good for classical too, because of the projection. The clearness of the Sirius is a little bit more apparent than on the Grégoire Marais, which I like a lot. Yeah.
It's got quite a bassy, not a bassy tone, sort of a sort of more of mellow tone, from what I understand.
Yeah, I'd say that. So this is from the Sirius. If you're playing, you know, and then compared to this, you know, I think the difference is pretty clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd say that this is more like when I want to play like you know.
Yeah, lovely, really lovely.
It's got a clear tone. Yeah.
Are you more? Do you switch between tongue blocking and puckering a lot?
So right now my huge study is in corner switch, and I've been working on that for at least 1.5 years now, and I think it's coming along. You know,
Yeah, no,
this is something that is so hard to learn, I think, because when you start, it's like you have to train your tongue, like working out in the gym. And initially it doesn't work, and you get fatigued after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the movement is labored, and everything is weird, and then after some time it just starts to flow a little bit more.
Yeah. It was sounding lovely just then. Absolutely.
Let's hear. So, like for example, on tongue block, I'm doing the prelude of the cello symphony number 1, because it's the perfect study piece for corner switch. You know that part? Yeah. You know, trying to get it as legato and quick and smooth as possible. It's even possible to just go like, you know?
I know that piece as well. Yeah, the endings piece that always gets me, where it goes da 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 da. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No,
that part or the last part?
No, that part exactly. And then the last part, you have to do the extra jump as well. Yeah. Lovely.
I never performed it actually. I don't really do classical that much, except for learning and having fun. So I should have prepared it, but yeah, whatever.
Don't worry about it.
I told you I wouldn't be vain.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make you be vain. Do you have any favorite performances in the past? Maybe you can tell us about.
Oh, from myself?
Yeah, of course.
Ooh, I didn't play a lot of high prestige gigs in any way. But yeah, I have some performances. I think any performance where you just lock in with the people you're playing with and everything makes sense it's within jazz. It's like this, that when you play with somebody that you're not locked in with, you don't
Yeah,
feel secure,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then you start to be in your own head and think more. How can I play now to make it sound good? But if you're playing with somebody who you're locked in with, then you feel that everything you're gonna do is gonna be supported.
yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely.
So I'd say any concert where I get to that feeling is the
Mm.
best ones.
I think one of my favorite performances that I saw of you was just on YouTube, but is it called Dance for Victor? And you
Yeah,
had
that
this
one. Yeah.
crazy rhythm section in the front, and you were just like grooving off that. I thought it was absolutely lovely. When I
Yeah.
post this, I'll post a link so that people can see that as well. It
Oh
looks,
yeah, sure. So now it's becoming like almost 3 years ago I made those. It was actually in the last day of 2018 that we recorded it. New Year's Day, I think it was.
fantastic. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
definitely feel like a sort of a positive vibe going on there. It's lovely.
Yeah. So yeah, I should make new things.
I think we all want to do that. It's just finding the time to do it at the end
Hmm.
of the day. Are you still
But
in contact?
that rhythm section was Sam Techi is his name. He's a guy who has a band that I was a part of, playing traditional Ghanaian music. And then the tune is Philip Catherine. He's a Belgium guitar player, and just Toots played that tune with him actually,
Okay.
on the Toots album,
Yeah.
the Musette kind of vibe album.
Mm.
And I heard that one, and I was in the middle of the Dance for Victor, which
Mm.
is a homage to Victor Feldman, the vibes player and pianist.
Yeah, 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 sure.
Yeah, so it's not they didn't write it for me.
It's not you
Um,
being vain. Yeah, okay.
uh, yeah, so I heard that tune, and the thing is that it's like it's in four,
Mm.
but the melody da ba da ba ba da ba is in 12, and
Ah,
and
okay.
that relation between in essence 3 and 2 or 6 and 4 is very much into the Ghanaian rhythm universe.
Yeah.
And I was in that band at the time,
Mm.
so I thought, what if the whole thing like had, you know,
Mm.
like that's the
Mm.
12th part, and then the four, then it switched to four in the B section. So the just goes to swing, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just heard the tune like that, and I had to do it like that.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So Toots is obviously an influence. What other sort of players, I mean, harmonica or otherwise, would you say have like really just been like your guys or girls in terms
Mm.
of, I suppose, woodshedding?
For sure, on the harmonica inspirations, it's been Toots. But also my favorite living harmonica player is Antonio Serrano.
Ah, yeah, sure, 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 definitely.
He's just amazing. Other than that, I've been listening diligently to a mixture of Sonny Rollins and
Yeah,
just I can't even put, like, just putting single names on is difficult because
yeah,
I feel like I've been listening as much to the pianists as the
mm,
bassist in the I mean anything I liked I tried to find out what it was.
mm, mm.
So can I put like one big influence on me? I don't even think I can. Like
Mm.
one, no, I can't
No, I
do
just
that.
didn't know if there was like a particular artist that you know really workshopped and really woodshedded and really
Mm,
punched in. Just a whole
not
eclectic mix.
one particular one, but like let's say 20.
Okay. No, that's good.
Mm,
Perfect,
mm.
perfect. I've only got a few questions left. I suppose, what are you looking forward to in the future? I mean, obviously you're still studying, but are there any particular collaborations that you're working on or things that you've got coming up in the pipeline?
So right now, I've been just studying, but what I really want to do within the next couple of years is to make an album,
Mm,
and start getting out there and
mm,
getting more active on the internet, and that will just lead me to play more, and that's what I want. So seeing my dream in the future is just playing as much as humanly possible. You know,
mm,
that's just
mm,
what I want to do.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping soon you'll be gigging in England, or I'm hoping soon I'll be on holiday in Amsterdam and I can come and see you play.
Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic.
that would be great. I hope they open up soon. I don't think it's open now for every kind of musical venue yet.
No,
Yeah.
it's not in the UK. Has it been difficult over lockdown? Just, I mean, are you still able to go into your site on uni? Have you been doing it online or?
It's been a mix. So
Mm,
first semester this year was on site, and then the second was online,
mm,
which was a huge challenge
yeah,
because it is a music university,
yeah,
it is a conservatory, and doing that online is just is horrible,
yeah.
to be honest.
You need
So
that interaction.
yeah, but I think I don't think it will go online again now that the
Mm.
vaccinations are more dispersed. I don't think it's gonna be like that.
Touch wood. Touch wood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Yeah. Mm.
Victor, do you have many students in Amsterdam and Copenhagen and online at the moment?
At the moment, I have been more studying, but the last 6 years I've been living on the side as a teacher and mainly as a player.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I've been having many students, and both on the harmonica, but also just bands that I've been instructing.
Sure.
Um, but the harmonica students, a lot, yes.
Fantastic. Do you have any like words of wisdom for our own readers and tips and tricks you can pass on to them?
Yes, for sure. So the first thing I'd say is that the embouchure, the tone, is extremely important. And
Mm,
what I see people do a lot is even high level players, they have like a kind of a little pucker going on with the lips, like a little auntie kiss, we call it. You know,
yeah.
you're going like this when you're on the tip of the harmonica, and
Mm,
that's only gonna activate the natural sound of the harmonica
mm,
generally. But if you actually like apply the instrument deeper
mm,
between your lips like this, you'll get a much fuller, beautiful tone. So the difference is this, and
mm, yeah. Fantastic.
and it's
Mm,
just huge. The difference is huge.
yeah.
And personally, I like a little bit. You have to be aware on the Suzuki that you actually need to intonate.
Mm,
They are tuned in 42 and sometimes 43. I even think
yeah.
you actually need to bend them all the time a little bit
Gotcha.
to this. Yeah.
Mm,
So
intonation.
that's tip number one. Tip number two when you play jazz is this instrument has a habit to become staccato if you want to
Mhm.
move around on it, because you have to move your face and you have to move your lips quickly. So it people have a tendency to play like like that. And what you really need is some sort of aggression. Actually,
Mm,
if you move very very quickly, but also on the blows on the draw. Without the harmonica, you almost need to go like, like to play something like that.
mm,
If you want to go swing like do ba do, you have to get there with with like
mm,
an aggressive, almost aggressive attitude. You know, if you
yeah.
don't do that, like move it like that, you're gonna be like like
Yeah.
staccated instead of like legato.
Mm,
That is the hottest tip I can give. Work
mm,
on being super aggressive.
yeah. When you're gonna hit it, hit it. That's what I
Yeah.
always think. Yeah, I tried to play the trumpet once, and I was terrible at it. But something that really struck me, and that I took over to the harmonica, was when you go through the mouthpiece. You've really
Yeah.
got to hit it and say, "I'm playing this note now." Even if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
playing it soft and like legato, you've got to, punctuate it and to just.
Was there maybe on the trumpet, maybe even a sort of delay
Mm,
from when you hit it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
fantastic.
there is though on the harmonica as well, don't you think? Like a
Sorry.
small delay. You know,
Yeah,
from when you
definitely.
activate the motion of for example, drawing a note until the note actually rings, there's a delay.
Mm,
And that is actually perfect that you say that. That's exactly where I need the sort of like quick aggressive movement because you're actually behind. That's what I'm trying to say.
for
You're a little
sure.
bit when you activate the motion of drawing a note, for example. You're not. It's not like a piano. It's a percussive
Not
instrument. When you
instantaneous.
hit it, it hits. You know.
Mm,
Yeah. You need to like get the note ringing with your
sure.
breath somehow.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Really
I
interesting.
don't. Doesn't make sense, Sam. What I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I mean, yeah, yeah. The reed has to activate. That's what I always say. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
activating the reed and you're compensating for that. It's faster on a diatonic, I feel. Diatonic
Mm,
is probably a bit more instantaneous. On a chromatic, um, yeah, there's definitely a if you're
mm.
um
Even that, as you said, but also when you're playing in swing, you
mm,
know the actual time between the notes and the time you have to activate the note is
yeah,
decreased because it doesn't go like ba ba ba, it
yeah,
goes like ba da da da, you know, and that whole that space is smaller, so
yeah.
you need even. That's why I say you need to be like, oh, you need to really,
Need to be compensating for it. Yeah,
you need to get in there because otherwise it's not gonna work.
perfect. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Fantastic. Any final tips and tricks?
Oh well, I can convey like that with my own intonation and embouchure. I try to make harmonica whisper a little bit,
Mm,
like instead of just saying or like some people
yeah,
also do it very hard. I go like this, and maybe you can even hear the airflow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just loosened up. Mm,
And that's really my preference to make it almost like Ben Webster, you know, the
yeah.
saxophone player.
It made me think of Stan Getz actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there was similar players, but yeah.
But if there's one who ever whispered, it must have been Ben Webster. He always have this like in the end of his
Yeah.
notes,
Mm.
and I think I'm mimicking that somehow because I've always been listening to him also.
Yeah, I think those considerations of tone, I think, really show you to be sort of a next level player. Yeah, that's really fantastic. Yeah, and I've got a
Rhythm
lot to
and
think
time,
about in my
yeah.
playing now. I'm going to go off to the woodshed and really think about that stuff.
Oh
Fantastic.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
I had another question. What's your if I was to sit you down, what's a piece of music that you always just love playing by yourself that you just always find yourself playing it,
Mm.
even though you've played it 1,000 times before?
Yeah, I have two tunes like that. And one is the Days of Wine and Roses.
Yeah,
I
fantastic.
think I even played over those changes in one of my examples, just because I love it so much, and I always loved it, and I think I always will.
Mm,
Um, and another one, I actually have a bunch of tunes like that, but the first tune I ever learned to play within the jazz idiom was "Bye Bye Blackbird."
sure.
Two F tunes, good for harmonica.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Fantastic, Victor. I'm out of questions. So thank you very much for your time.
Will edit it. I
Yeah,
don't know if you have the time, but I also am curious about you and what you do and how you teach and stuff like this.
I'm at my girlfriend's, so I don't have my harmonicas with me, which is a
Ah, okay.
rookie mistake.
You're unarmed.
I am unarmed, yeah. Curious about me. So I picked up the harmonica when I was 13, diatonic, and just
Hmm.
went straight into blues, straight into woodshedding a lot.
Yeah.
And that was sort of my life. And then I started playing the guitar as well. I like playing the guitar, but everybody plays the guitar. And while I've been
Mm.
quite good at it, again, I've woodshedded it. I would call myself an advanced player.
Hmm.
Everybody's an advanced player on the guitar. Harmonicas are few and far between. You'll always get the gig, and the guitar you just won't. And I
Mm.
just I'm in love with playing the harmonica. I like playing the guitar.
Mm.
But I think like most people, I always had a chromatic lying around. And then similar to you, probably a bit later when I was about 21, I said, right, you've got to get serious on this instrument. So I sort of self-taught myself just scales. You should play in every single key on that instrument. Then I started doing like, you know, other scales like the melodic minor, the harmonic minors, and your arpeggios. Then I started getting, you know, basic songs together. And then it's
Was
been,
that going into jazz?
no, more at classical at the beginning, and I'm
Yeah.
still sort of more inclined towards classical. I want to get good at jazz. It's the education that's been lacking and the opportunity to play with others. So like I'm in a blues and rock band on the diatonic, and I do like really sort of fast guitar style harmonica there. And a couple of times we've done jazz bars, and they've had like jams on later, and I've always been like, oh yeah, I'll stay at them. But they start at like 1 a.m. And in England, like my last train home is like midnight. So for me to get there and to get that, it means me getting home at like 5 a.m. And I just can't do that. You know, I've got other commitments. I wish I could. One of the things I'm jealous of about Europe is that you seem to have just a more open view towards just jazz, having it on in the background. You know, you can just go to a cafe and there'll be some cats just playing and just chilling out at 3 p.m. and you can just say, hey, can I sit in? In London, it's not really like that. When you go to a jazz thing, you're very respectful, or if you go to a jam session, it's like a stupid hour.
So it's always a very formal setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas when I've been to Amsterdam, or I really want to go to Denmark, I told you I want to go to Christiania and stuff like that. But when you just see musicians just almost just casually meeting up and playing like that. And there are blues jams like that in London, but I don't know about the jazz jams. And I think it's just, I'm not quite in that crowd yet. But there's a college, an adult college near me that does an advanced jazz study course over a year, which I think is similar to what you were saying that you had to do before you went to university. So I'm hoping I'll do that over the next year. And on the
That's great.
Yeah. I did some.
Did you get a teacher ever in jazz?
I haven't been a teacher in jazz. I teach the diatonic quite a lot to individual students one-on-one. And I've done some like lessons on the chromatic online, and that's on my YouTube. But I've never had a one-to-one student on the chromatic. I've always just been, if you watch my videos, it's like, you need to learn this scale, or you need to approach the harmonic like this. This is your tongue blocked embouchure. This is how you play octaves and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a few chromatic students, definitely.
It also helps you define how you actually would like to proceed practicing, and define what is important to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But did you ever get a teacher in jazz? Somebody who taught you?
I've only ever had 2 lessons on the chromatic harmonica. I had no lessons on the diatonic, no lessons on the guitar. I was getting good at chromatic harmonica. I was playing difficult classical pieces and just starting out in jazz. There's a wonderful guy in England called Adam Glasser.
Yeah.
And I had 1 lesson with him, which was like just a crash course on, if you want to play a jazz standard, this is how you do it.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah. It was like boom, 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 boom. His lessons are, I can't rate them highly enough. And then 6 months later, I said, Adam, great lesson, but I can't afford regular lessons, so I'm still teaching myself and woodshedding.
But that's actually a great idea, to make a lesson like that, where you just say, if you want to do this, this is what you'll need, and actually maybe not go so deep into how to do those things, but just say, if you want to figure it out, this is what you need to figure out. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great.
And I had another lesson with him about 6 months later, which was a whole sort of different approach, because he was like, in the first lesson, he was like, okay, play your arpeggios, play the scale that's going through that, and see how the scale changes, and use the arpeggios, thirds and sevenths to run through it. And the second lesson, he was like, okay, let's get your head in shape. So when you go to a jam, are you jealous of other people? Why are you jealous? Don't be jealous of other musicians. Buy them a drink, and just really help me just sort of define my sort of movements. I love how people analyze, their body language and when they're playing the instrument. And several other tips and tricks that I've written down somewhere in terms of how I actually break down pieces and how I reflect on solos by recording them and things like that. It's just a great two great lessons. One on this is how you do it, bing bang bosh, and then this is how you
Mm.
sort of get your head in the game and just don't mess yourself up. Relax and play and get in the groove.
That's a great point about the whole ego thing,
Mm.
because a lot of people will actually never get out there because they're
Yeah,
afraid not to be doing a very good job if they do.
yeah, sure.
And that's an oxymoron, because you'll never go to a high level if you don't go out and make the
Sure.
mistakes. You
Yeah,
really
yeah.
need to have these detrimental
Mm.
embarrassing things where you mess up in front of a lot of good players and stuff like that. You need it. It's
Move on.
important. Yeah.
There's that culture they're trying to get rid of in America. It's called vibing, where you
Hmm.
vibe other musicians, where you're like, oh, great solo, man, you missed the change. And they're really trying to stamp out on it and just say, no, you're supposed to go to jams and mess up. But I
Yeah.
think that's more saxophone players who've normally got the big egos. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think it goes around to everybody that this
Mm,
is a problem. I
mm,
think it's a problem everywhere, and I think everybody just needs to handle themselves,
mm,
and try not to look down on anybody,
definitely.
and not look down on themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's something I definitely had in my early 20s when I was going to blues bars. I'm turning 30 next month, but when I
Mm.
was first going to blues bars, I remember trying to be like, yeah, I'm the new guy in town. I'm super tough. And then people
Mm.
just like, are you all right? Do you need a drink? Can we help you? And I was like, oh, why are you being so nice? And yeah,
Mm.
that's normally my standard thing, whether I'm playing with a guitarist who's a bit too, flashy, or another harp player who's a bit nervous. I'm
Mm.
just like, hey, can I buy you a beer? Do you want to be
Yeah.
like friends? I think it's buying
That's
people
the way.
beers just gets things done. That's my
Yeah.
philosophy.
That's very true. That's very true. That's
Yeah.
a good philosophy.
But
Well,
anyways, I look forward to
it's
grabbing a beer sometime. Definitely.
yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Now I kind of flipped the interview here.
Uh, I'm aware of that. You put me on edge. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Well,
I'm not used to being interviewed anyway, so
that's okay. You're a very modest man, I can tell.
yeah, maybe I think I'm too modest. I've just been in this school trying to get through the exams and do well. It's still locked down, so I've just been working on technique like a
Mm,
lot, and just on playing like phrases. My phrasing wanted it to be a little bit more crisp, so that's it. No flashy things right now. No big
mm,
concerts because well, I do have some in Copenhagen during the
mm,
summer, but nothing too crazy. I'm still waiting for things to open up to so it's possible to book.
mm,
Yeah, but I'm looking a lot forward to come out and play because it's been my life. It's been my main and side source of incomes over the last
mm,
what have been 7 8 years,
mm.
and not having that during the lockdown has been weird, to
Yeah.
say it mildly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your students, though. How have your students driven you? As you were saying, you learn a lot from your students. Can you give any particular examples of where they've highlighted
Yeah.
points of improvement?
So whenever I have a student, I'm trying to see what they need,
Mm,
and whenever actually whoever it is, I somehow see a reflection of myself,
mm,
at any stage of my development or a current one. I see like all the problems that people have in terms of playing and getting better are pretty universal.
mm,
I didn't ever see like one unique problem that nobody else had in any way.
mm,
So they can all reflect on me, and that's how I kind of get something out of it personally.
mm,
And if I have somebody who, for example, is bad at structuring
mm,
how they rehearse, that's been my main
yeah,
problem for my entire life, and it still is. So I'm always trying to like hack my own brain into more structure. So I try to tell them what they need, but I'm at the same time talking to myself,
mm,
and that's how I get something out of teaching all the time. It doesn't really matter what it is. I've been there,
yeah,
I
sure.
feel like that, yeah. So I am there. It's an internal. It's something that people need to realize, that you're never gonna be done,
Yeah,
unless you
of
like
course.
decide that now I'm satisfied with my current level and I'm just gonna stay here. Then
Yeah, sure.
that's all good. But if you wanna just, if you love the music and wanna just keep getting better, you're never gonna be finished. So that's how I take something from the students to myself for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Out of interest, do you play any other instruments, or is it just harmonica?
Harmonica is my main instrument, and
Sure.
it always has been. But as I mentioned, I was in the choir, and I used to
Yeah,
be a
sure.
singer, and I also used to be a lead singer in my blues days.
Yeah.
Although I was shy, I did it.
No, I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
And my second instrument is the electric bass.
Oh,
Yeah, so I've been working a lot on that, and I played guitar on the side, and now we get piano tuition on the school.
yeah.
So I think playing other instruments than harmonica is great, because you get some sort of perspective into
Yeah.
different roles in the orchestra setting or like the band setting, and
Mm,
you'll learn what to listen for, and
mm,
what to expect from the others, but also y- understanding all the roles will make you better at yours. Let's say like
mm.
that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you, I heard like a lot of critique. Also, one of my teachers even told me, "Don't. Why are you playing the bass? You're wasting your time. You should play harmonica. That's your main instrument." But I never felt like I lost anything,
Mm,
from playing
definitely.
it. I only felt like I learned a lot.
Mm. Gives you a different
Yeah.
perspective, definitely. Yeah, fantastic. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I can't think of anything.
No, thanks for your time. I'm looking forward to it because
Mm.
you're a fantastic player, but I want more of you. I've got like 3 videos on YouTube that I can find, and
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
want to just
I'm aware. I've been so inspired by people like Philip Yass, who is
yeah
so
yeah yeah
active on the social media, and I keep feeling like I should do something like that. But I'm also from nature a little bit of a shy person,
mm,
and it's kind of it seems counterintuitive to me to be like, hey, hello everybody, like that.
yeah sure
But definitely I should just film concerts more.
yeah or
Yeah.
just film a few things of you playing, and you don't have to speak. I think that's the hard thing. If you're like,
Mm.
hi, I'm so and so, and
Yeah, yeah.
boom. Um,
But I do actually have a little video I'm sitting on with great video and great audio from a performance in November,
oh,
and
fantastic.
I'm gonna release that. Mm.
Fantastic. When are you doing it? Because I can put it in there.
Well, I think I'm gonna try to time it with the magazine
Okay, fine, fine, fine.
release. Yeah,
Um,
why not?
yeah, definitely. I'll get the dates over to you. Yeah, because like with me and social media, I hate social media. I'm always
Mm.
like turning it off, and I've now got a thing where it's just in a folder on my computer,
Mm.
and you have to password to get into it. So I open it once a day. There's a
Mm.
message. I open the message, deal with it, and then close it down. Get on with my day.
Yeah.
And if I post something, then I just post something, leave it, and then
Mm.
get on with my day. If somebody's rude in the comments, that's their problem, not yours. So, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I never saw that though. On most harmonica related things are extremely positive. I think the community
yeah,
out there is just great. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
So
So I
go
should try to get into that. You're right, Sam.
big smile at the front and then play the song and then just smile at the end. You've got a wonderful smile. Go for it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. I like to talk. It's just there's a shyness to the whole I'm on stage but I'm not playing thing.
Mm.
That I should try to get over. Maybe I should just make the videos and say it. Like I'm a
Yeah.
little bit shy. Here it comes.
Yeah, just throw it out there. Throw it out there. That's what I'm always saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been a pleasure, Victor.
yeah. It has.
Yeah, yeah.
Really nice to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine. And like I said, we will grab that drink sometime, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When you're